What's going on, y'all? Mitchell Torrence here with Manifest Money Media, and today I wanted to give you another update on the current state of economic affairs here in the US. We're going to take a look at how the stock market is doing as a whole, what the federal government is doing, unemployment numbers, progress on a vaccine, as well as if and when there will be a recession when all of this is over. So as of May 5th, 2020, we are a little bit over halfway back from the intraday low that we saw on March 23rd. And right now, the question on a lot of investors' minds is, are we going to see a V-shaped recovery or a W-shaped recovery? Oftentimes, in a crash or around the time of a recession, there's an initial drop, consumer confidence goes up, maybe there's a stimulus or some quantitative easing from the Fed, but then the reality and the gravity of how bad the situation is causes the markets to drop again. April 2020 was one of the best months on record for the stock market, and now people are wondering, does the valuation of the stock market represent its current price, or is the future priced into its current valuation? Over the last few months, we have seen a record $3 trillion stimulus package from the federal government, which aims to provide loans for small businesses and big corporations, bolster unemployment payouts for people out of work. I'm currently getting an extra $600 a week from the federal government. Yeah. And also rescue city and local governments that are in desperate need of cash flow. The Federal Reserve has made it very clear that they will use whatever quantitative easing and bailout methods that are necessary to keep our economy afloat. Which basically means that the Fed could conceivably just keep infinitely printing money to rescue anyone from anything at any time. Businesses could practically just borrow themselves into infinity because the Fed is promising to rescue them. This happened in 2008 when banks like Bear Stearns, JP Morgan, and Citigroup were struggling to stay solvent. It's almost like having a rich mommy and daddy that will help you out no matter how dumb of financial decisions you make. This actually hurts responsible businesses that keep cash reserves and have healthy debt to income ratios because they're basically being penalized for not taking more risk. It doesn't look like this is going to slow down anytime soon because the US Treasury Department just announced that they'll borrow another $3 trillion from April to June. That then begs the question, are we going to see high levels of inflation or even hyperinflation? Like responsible businesses, people that save their money would then be punished because the buying power of their cash is going to devalue more quickly. This is the reason why you want to have the majority of your net worth tied up in equities and assets instead of cash. If you follow my channel, I know it's going to sound like I'm not following my own advice because currently I'm sitting on a pile of cash. But before all of this went down, I was actively looking for my first rental property, which now looks like it's going to be pushed back for at least a few more months because I'm currently unemployed. F me. And speaking of unemployment, since this lockdown, nearly 30 million Americans have filed for unemployment. The big question now is how many of these jobs will fully come back once the country reopens and to what extent. Many of the service-based jobs in our economy are opening back up at half capacity and with severe restrictions on service standards. Many state and local governments have said that they will begin cutting budgets and laying off employees if they don't get the help that they need. Which now brings us to the sobering reality of a possible recession. Even when things fully open back up, will consumers have the confidence to go out and spend money? Not to mention how much disposable income will be available to the average citizen. Now, all things being equal, the average consumer should have more discretionary income than before the virus because everyone's been stuck at home and more than likely not going out and spending money for the last couple of months. That is unless you spent all your money buying toilet paper. Now, a recession is typically defined as 2 straight quarters of negative GDP growth. The first quarter of 2020 definitely falls into this criteria, which means Q2 almost has to be negative because most state lockdowns started in March, some are continuing into the end of May, and others are starting to ease restrictions now. May and June could turn out to be exceptional quarters in our economy, but given the numbers on the spread of infections and the uncertainty of a vaccine, I really don't anticipate this happening. And speaking of a vaccine, it'll be a year to 18 months at best to develop a vaccine. And if a vaccine isn't developed fast enough, we'll start to see widespread herd immunity, which is where pretty much everyone gets the virus. The weak, immunocompromised, and sick are wiped out, and only the strong survive. Kind of like it's been for the last 4 billion years or so. At the end of the day, we can all take our best guesses as to what will happen, but no one can predict the future of the economy. And no one could have guessed that a virus originating from a bat in a disgusting Chinese market would be the first falling domino that would bring the global economy to a standstill. But as history shows, and as I've said on this channel from the beginning, the best strategy is just to stick to your financial plan, don't do anything crazy, and keep investing as normal. Listen to the experts and watch the media enough to stay informed, but not so much that you're going down the rabbit hole of prepping for the end of the world. Humanity has overcome so many immense challenges during our time here on Earth, and I have no doubt that we'll all come together and do what it takes to survive. Stay safe, stay positive, and I'll catch you on the next video.